y'all, welcome back. My name is Dee and this is Dee's Bookish Musings, where I'm sharing my love for reading at my own pace. Welcome to a new video. Thank you so much for tuning in. To those of you who are coming back to my channel to support me in 2026 as I continue this YouTube hobby, talking about books and also lifestyle, my fitness journey and things like that. Thank you so much for being here. You don't go unnoticed. And if you are new here, tuning in for the first time, hi, my name is Dee. I talk all things books. I also share my fitness journey on Fridays between 8 and 10. So if you're interested in that, tune in on those days. So I'm going to go ahead and get into this video because it's an exciting video, talking about all the books that I loved in 2025. Now, these books are separated from my top 3. I only picked out 3 top books for 2025, and I did a video already. I will link it up here so you can check that out. So I won't be talking about those books anymore because I have talked about those books to death in 2025, and you guys are probably tired of hearing me rave on about those books. But I don't care. I don't care. I am going to continue to shout to the world about books that don't get any hype, okay, that I want people to give a chance and read. And I do want to congratulate the person who did win my giveaway for Christmas. I did a Christmas giveaway in one of my videos. So if you did not watch that video, you may have missed out. You did miss out. So congratulations to Alicia, but you know who you are. I've already responded to your comment. Thank you so much for supporting my channel. I really do appreciate it. And I really do appreciate what you said about me, why you love my channel, is because Alicia said, and I have to share this because I think, you know, there's some type of restraint against going against the grain. And I'm one of those voices that I will always go against the grain because that's just who innately I am. I will always go against the grain if I don't resonate with something. I always will tell the truth about what I like and what I don't like, and I don't feel any guilt or any shame about that. And you know, you shouldn't either. And so thank you, Alicia, for making that comment. It really did resonate with me. And my reading year in 2025 was all over the place, which it really was, because I was pretty much mood reading. My mother was sick, all those things. So I really did not read a whole lot of heart-wrenching, heartfelt books. And that is what I generally like. But I will be changing that in 2026 because things are looking brighter for the new year already. They are. So much good things have happened. Okay. All right, let's get to these books. So I'm going to be breaking these books into genres to kind of keep it organized. And so I've got my notes here because it's been quite a while since I read these books. So I'm going to start with thrillers. Thrillers that I loved. And I'm going to start with a thriller that I just read. Is no other than Razor Blade Tears. Y'all, this book has been on my back TBR for the longest time. I've only read one book from S.A. Cosby, and I was not a fan, okay? So yes, I'm going against the grain against this beloved author. He is from Virginia, right? I want to love his work. I want to read everything. I wanted to read everything that he put out. So the first book that I read was All the Sinners Bleed, and I was not happy with that book. I didn't think it was a good book. I didn't like the writing style, so that kind of like put me off to reading or picking up one of his books. But because it was the end of the year, this was on my anticipated books to read, I walked up to my book cart and closed my eyes, did this, and then this one is the one I picked up. And y'all, I was not disappointed. I said in a previous video that just, you know, a snippet of like my thoughts because I had just started reading the book, that this book was written to be a movie, okay? Like when I was reading each page, I could picture everything, the scenes happening on a movie screen. This was actually good. I really did enjoy this book. If you don't know what this is about, I don't know why, because, you know, this has been out for a while, and a lot of people have raved on about this book. This is about 2 men, Buddy Lee and Ike. They are different. One is black, one is white. They're different, but they're same in the sense that they have past. They have a past of being on the wrong side of the law, right? But Buddy Lee, he hasn't really made any drastic steps to change his life in that manner, but Ike has. He is a new person. They used to call him Riot, but Ike is a new man. You know, you thought that he was a new man, right? Because he's a felon. Both of them are felons. He has made his own opportunities. He's got his own business, and he's doing a dang on thing. He's married, but the only thing that was missing in Ike's life was his son, because his son was married to Buddy Lee's husband. He did not agree with that. And so they had a rough and rocky relationship. What I liked about this book is that he did not hold back to expressing, I feel like, what, and I don't want to stereotype my people, black people, whatever, but our culture, you know, especially older people, they are not with the, you know, gay, you know, being gay. They're not with that. He did not flinch, okay? His words, his writing was raw, okay? He said it like it was. He said what people, like older people, would think, right, about two married men. So I really, really liked the writing style, which when I went into this book, I didn't know, because I didn't like the writing style in the first book that I read of his. But this one was really, really good. He actually wrote this, I think, for a movie, and I think it has been, or it's going to be a movie, and I can't wait, because it is full of action, and I'm not an action type person, okay? I don't really like action, so this is more a action thriller. However, it's going to keep you on the edge of your seat. You're going to be shocked, okay? It is raw, it is unflinching, it is gritty, okay? People get unalived in this book, okay? Like, I was shocked at some of the things that Buddy Lee and Ike was doing, okay? But like I said, they get together and they go on a journey to find their son's killer, because the police, they're not doing anything. They can't get anywhere with the case, and so they take things in their own hands, okay? And when I say in their own hands, literally in their own hands. It was so good, so good. Now, it had a few plot holes, okay, for me. I'm one of those people who, it's hard for me to suspend my belief. It is, right? I'm always questioning about, well, okay, if you did this, then, you know, this should be happening, or why hasn't this happened, type of thing. So this, you know, it had some plot holes in here for me, but overall, this was a good book. I really did enjoy this book. I rated this 4.5 stars. Not quite 5 for me, but it was up there. Loved this book down. I did. Next book in this category is Kill for Me, Kill for You. This is by Steve Kavanaugh, I believe his name is. I read this on audiobook, I believe. Yeah, because I don't have the physical book. I read this on audiobook, and y'all, this is a psychological thriller about two people who agree to kill the person that harmed and destroyed their family. And so they make this pact, right? And I'm not going to go into that many details, because I definitely don't want to spoil this. But this book had so many plot twists, like surprising plot twists. I could never keep up what was going on in the story. It moved really fast, very fast paced. It wasn't slow at all. And the plot twist, y'all, was just mind-blowing. There is another side plot twist that comes into the story to kind of throw you off and things like that. And in the end, the ending was shocking and surprising, right? And so I really did enjoy this one. I definitely think that I would like to read it again, because it was so twisted, so much going on at the same time, that I probably did miss something in the book. So I don't know if I want to buy this book, but it may be one that I may purchase in the future and reread. Typically, I don't reread thrillers, but because, again, this one was so good and had so much going on, I probably missed something. But this one was a great book, and I definitely recommend this book. Next thriller I want to talk about is Too Old for This. I read this book. I found it on Libby, just scrolling Libby. And y'all, it was such a good book. It's about a lady, old lady. It has an elderly protagonist. So if you like reading about old people, elderly people, which I do as well, pick up this book if you want to read a thriller. But it was more suspenseful than like thrilling. I would say more satire, okay? We follow this lady named Lottie. She's in her 70s. She is in retirement. And one day she gets a knock on the door. I forgot her name, Plum. Her name is Plum. Plum knocks at her door. Plum's doing this documentary about people who have been accused of like murder and crimes who have gotten off, and wants Lottie to participate because I guess she has researched Lottie, and now she wants her to be a part of the documentary. But that would just be opening up a can of worms, right? So Lottie has to come out of retirement because she does not want any drama. She's trying to move to an assisted living facility. She's trying to downgrade her life. She is a grandmother, and so now she's plunged back into killing. Okay, she's plunged back into killing, but she's a little sloppy now because she's older. So the book is a page turner, y'all. It is a page turner. I love this one. So good. If you want to read something funny, witty, suspenseful, not really scary or anything like that, but you know, she is a serial killer. Okay, pick this one up. I rated this one 5 stars. Loved it so much. Next book I'm going to talk about is My Husband by Maud Ventura. Now, this book should have made, I should have included this one, well, maybe not, right? Because it wasn't, you know, it didn't pull at my heartstrings. You know, those books made my top standouts, right? So I don't want to give every book that, you know, title. Anyway, so this book was good, y'all. This was about a lady who was married, and she was so obsessed with her husband, she would do strange things. She kept this notebook and wrote everything down about how he reacted, and if he did not act appropriately or the way she thought that he should act, she punished him, right? And I would say this is not like a thriller, but it's more like a suspense kind of, or silent thriller, I would say, because I don't know, really don't know how to describe this book, but it kept you on edge at every time just because the lady was so freaking unhinged. It was like a very good like storyline, right? This was very unique, and I do believe this is her debut novel. I haven't heard a whole lot of people talk about this one, but if you want to read something different, something shocking, because the lady is crazy, okay? She did some really crazy things. The ending was very like shocking and surprising, right? I didn't see it coming. It was such a good book. I really did enjoy this book. This book actually got a 5 star. So those are the thrillers. And so the next I will be talking about historical fiction. Now I have to say that I did not read a lot of historical fiction just because I guess I was not in the mood. 2025 just was not here for me to read any of my favorite genres, okay? But like I said, things are looking up, and I am looking forward to getting into the books and being more intentional about what I really want to read. One of the books in historical fiction genre that I loved was The Yellow Wife by Sadiqa Johnson. This followed a lady, what was her name? Her name was Phoebe. She was born on a plantation in Charles City, Virginia. And because this one is set in Virginia, I'm from Virginia, this one kind of like, you know, have a special place in my heart because this is actually based on a true story. So Phoebe grows up on this plantation. She's actually the master's daughter. There is some discourse between, of course, the mistress and Phoebe because the mistress resents Phoebe. I don't want to spoil the story if you haven't read it. If you haven't, you need to read this book. But Phoebe, she's looking forward to the future because she has been promised this life. Okay, I won't go into details. This life, right? Other than living on the plantation as a slave or enslaved person, as I should say. I'm going to stop saying slave and say enslaved person because these people did not choose to be slaves. So something happens and she is forced to leave the life that she knows on the plantation when she turns 18, and she gets put into the situation where she is the wife of a jailer in Richmond, Virginia. Now this man he is evil, okay? She is pretty much his fancy woman, but she has a title as the wife. She does have privileges, right? Because she's his wife, but not his wife. She doesn't have any agency. You see her as she struggles between being compliant to saving her children from the life that she does not want them to have. The book is very emotional. It's very hard to read. But I love this character because at every turn she was plotting. She was plotting how she was going to get out of the situation or how to make her children's lives better, because the situation she was in was just a situation that was doomed, for her. I love this book. I really do. The ending did not meet my expectations. So it didn't quite get a 5-star. I should just give this a 4.5 star. As I think about books over time, I may change rating. So you may see some books that I don't talk about because I decided that they weren't worth what I originally thought they were as far as ratings is concerned. Or I think I will give this one a 4.5 because I love the story. The ending fell flat for me. It was a lot of loose ends and stuff like that. But I don't think I should, downgrade the book a whole point because of that. So I am going to give this a 4.5. This is such a great story, and I loved the writing was good. It was very well researched, and yeah, I will be reading more from Sadiqa Johnson. She was supposed to be an author focus for 2025, but again, it just did not work out where I was able to read a lot of her books based on the tone of the book. The next historical fiction is The Titanic Sisters. This was a recent read by Patricia Falvey. I actually found the original copy in the thrift store. I read the premise and it sounded really good. So this is my own copy, brand new. I donated the used copy to a little free library, but this one follows two sisters as they go to America. They're from Ireland. They're kind of like not poor, but they live on a farm, and the mother wants a good future for the daughter. So the daughter who is favored is not Delia, but what's her name? Nora. She is favored by the mother. She's the one that the mother cherishes, right? So she gets the opportunity to go to America to have this position as a governess. And so the father sees how Delia is disappointed that she was not chosen to go to America. So he finds a way for her to go to America too, finds a job for her, but her job is a lowly maid, just a maid, a regular maid in a household, right? And so a governess has a higher standing, a higher position. And so they both get on this ship, and we know how that ends, right? The ship goes down. One of the sisters is lost, which is Nora. That's not a spoiler because Delia ends up taking her place, taking her ticket. Hey, I'm Nora, and leads her life as Nora. But we follow her as that comes to haunt her. This book had so many elements of found family, forgiveness, coming of age, sort of, because these are young people, right? Coming from Ireland to America, discovering a new world. We see how characters develop. There's a lot of character development, friendship in the end. It was just so good, y'all. This was definitely a good book. I rated this one 4.5 stars. I loved it to death. Cozy. If you want to read something cozy, pick up this book. So the next two books that I'm going to talk about were published in the 90s. So the genre is the 90s. I will be reading more 90s books, okay? Because there's a lot of books out there that was written that I have not had a chance to read. I'm very interested in reading. Specifically, April Sinclair. I was supposed to read the follow-up to this book, but I never got to it. But this one is Coffee Will Make You Black. I bought this one off of Thrift Books about a year ago, and actually I had no intentions of reading it. I was like, why do I have this book, right? I was kind of sorting my books, and this one was just out of place. And I just this one day decided to pick it up and just read it out of the blue. And I'm so glad I did, y'all, because it was such a good book. It's a coming of age story about a girl named Stevie and her mother, right? They're in Chicago in the civil rights era, right? She's growing up in the civil rights era. So we just see her discovering who she is. We just see her interact with her mother interact with her. This was very familiar to me. It reminded me of my childhood and my friendships and things like that. Discovering what sex is, and talking to your mother about those things, right? Her mother was kind of strict because she did not want her child or Stevie to be a statistics, because all around Stevie, it was, teenage pregnancy and things like that. This is in the backdrop of the civil rights movement as well. So we do get a lot of like activism, Black power. This was such a good book. It was very witty, very funny. moving. I loved everything about this story. I really, really, really did. This one got a 5 stars for me. And then the next one that was published in the 90s is The Matter Is Life by J. California Cooper. She was supposed to be a author focus for me in 2025 as well, but I only read one book of hers, but that's okay because I can, pick her up anytime. I have her whole catalog, I think. But this is a book of short stories. And when you read J. California Cooper, her books, her short story, I've only read one book, but you're going to get a lot of Black family culture, Southern Black folks, regular, normal people. It was like coming home, reading her short stories. It's very raw, honest, things that actually happen that people don't say, right? Talking to your grandmother and she just being raw with you, right? To tell you what's going on, or how she feels and how you should be living your life. It follows the lives of, like I said, regular Black women, Black men, and just trying to make a life for themselves, making mistakes and the consequences of their mistakes. I can't pinpoint the short stories that I like the most, but it was several ones in here that I really did like. Now, this book was kind of like, she doesn't hold back, right? She does not hold back in her. She's kind of like, I don't want to say raunchy, but raw. What matters of sexuality and things like that. She does not hold back. This is such a good book. Definitely would recommend it. I rated this a 4-star, but I really should rate this 4.5 to 5 stars. I am going to read this again. Okay, I'm going to read this one again. Loved it. So the next books that I want to talk about are romances. And so unfortunately, I did not have any books that I rated 4 stars that's in the contemporary. So I'll have to talk about my favorite author, Beverly Jenkins, and I won't sit here and hold you up by talking about every single book that I read by her individually. I'll just show the books that I read from her. So Belle, this is the first book of these 2 books. So it's like a follow-up. You can read them as standalones like I did. I did not know anything about this book. But I read this one first and then I later learned about this one, but these are like follow-ups. So these 2 books are YA, they're YA love stories. They're very sweet. If you like really sweet, innocent books with women who are headstrong, young women who are headstrong, knows what they want in life, have standards and things like that, depth behind each and every character. Even though they're young, they're making wise decisions and choices, despite the circumstances of, their background and things like that. Especially Belle, she came from nothing, ended up meeting Daniel, I think his name is Daniel, which is Josephine's brother, and having a life with him. And so these books were just so what I needed. If you want to feel good, you don't want a whole lot of spice, pick up these 2 books. I don't hear enough people talking about these, but these are so good. Oh, the other 2 books, this is the Old West series. This was the first series I read by her. I don't have the 3rd book, even though the 3rd book was good. It wasn't like a book that I loved, okay? And I talked about it in a previous video. I will try to link these videos up above when I have time. I don't know. Or you can just check my catalog of videos and check it out of what I said about these books. But this was a 5-star for me. I'm not going to go into what it's about, but I love the characters, both the male and the female. And this is the follow-up. This follows family members of these two, Ryan, the man, and what was the lady's name? I forgot her name. Edie. So this follows like family members' love story. Both really, really good books. Love them down. And so contemporary fiction. Stay With Me by Ayobami Adebayo. This was on my TBR for the longest time. This one follows a Nigerian couple. The woman is not able to conceive, and her husband's mother wants him to go out and marry someone else, right? Because in the African culture, having children and being a family and things like that is very highly respected and is expected of a couple, right? And so some crazy things happen, y'all. Even though this is contemporary fiction, it is very twisty and kind of messy. It's very messy, but in a good way. In a good way. There is no way in the world I could have thought of what was going to happen in this book between these two people, right? If you want to read something that's messy, that's good, I would definitely recommend this book for that. Okay, it was wild. It was wild, but I really did enjoy the story. So I rated this 4 stars. Okay, so the next book I want to talk about in the contemporary category is Francine's Spectacular Crash and Burn. So if I had to put this in a superlative, I would definitely say most surprising, because I didn't know anything about this book. The cover was just, on my own, I probably never would have picked it up, but I heard somebody say that it was good and they enjoyed it. And so I checked this one out at the library, and also it was on Libby, so I listened to it by audio. So this one follows Francine. She is about like in her mid-20s to early 30s, I forget. She's not really where she wants to be in life. She's working a job that she doesn't like, working with people that she doesn't like. The only sound thing in her life is her mother. So she is her mother's main caretaker. Her mother has a more psychological issue that she's got to manage. But her mother, the center of her life, when all of a sudden her mother dies, okay, and that's not a spoiler, her mother dies and we see her spin out of control. So she ends up meeting this kid, this autistic kid named Davy. And they never knew that they needed each other, right? Because he's in a situation of his own and she is grieving her mother. And they kind of become to each other, even though they kind of like butt heads, they come to depend, love, and like need each other. So explaining this book, it explores various topics. It has a autism, a representative in it. It has topics of grief, loneliness, depression, how to cope, and it's all told like in a funny way. So it's definitely not a depressing, you would think it would be a depressing book based on what I just said, grief, loss, depression. No, it's not a depressing book, because it kind of like mimics like a human experience. When people, lose their family members, some people, they do just crash and burn, and it's all told like in a really, really funny way. So this book kind of lifted my spirits up when I read it. So if you want to read something surprising, something funny and witty, I definitely would recommend this one. This one is by Renee Swindle. I forgot to tell you her name, Renee Swindle. And the last book in the contemporary fiction genre is Dominion. Okay, how could I leave this one out? Dominion was like a random spur of the moment type book that just became available on Libby. I did request it, but I had no thought that it would be available anytime soon, but it just popped up, and guess what? I started listening immediately because Shelby raved on about this, and then I heard somebody else rave on about it. And I'm not a popular book type of reader. I'm not really, but I went ahead and read this one, and I really did enjoy this one. This one is a page turner. I did a video talking about all my page turners, because I'm a page turner girl, and this one definitely fit the category. This one follows Priscilla, Saber, and Wonder Boy Emmanuel, which is one of their 5th children. They are a church-going family in Dominion, Mississippi, I believe, and it just follows these people, right, as they live a life that people don't see, right? When you think about church people, you don't think about church people doing certain things. And so this just shows that even church people are hypocrites. They are just regular people struggling with, I won't say regular things in life, but a lot of struggles that a lot of people go through. It centers around Priscilla Diamond, which is Emmanuel's girlfriend, and Emmanuel himself. And some things happen in this book with one of the main characters. I won't go into detail. I feel like this is a book that you need to read yourself because it's so short. I think it's like 200 pages, 4 or 5 hours on audio. So it's easy to spoil this book. But this was a page turner in the way it was written. I listened to this on audio, and I think that's the best experience to experience this book on audio, because one of my favorite, I believe it's the same person that narrated Francine's Spectacular Crash and Burn. It sounded like the same person. She just made this book come alive, and I had a good time with this book. Now, I only gave this a 4-star. Some people rated this a 5-star, but there were a lot of unanswered questions and a lot of things missing in the story, but I feel like that may be on purpose to get the reader to think. And so that's not always a bad thing. Sometimes, authors don't give you everything, but they write a certain way to make you think and fill in the spaces. That is it. Those are all the books that I loved in 2025. I hope you will pick some of these books up and read them if you have not. If you have, let me know what you thought about the books. Thank you so much for watching this video. I will see you guys in the next video.